Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So today is the day two, second day of this class, Fiqh of Zakat. We have gone through the course or syllabus last week, and also we mentioned about the discussions on who is liable to pay zakat. Who is liable to pay zakat? And there are two opinions there. We mentioned, let me open that slide and go over one more time. The person who is liable to pay zakat. There are four conditions that the wealth must be more than Nisaab. I will talk about what Nisaab is. This is Zakatable minimum. The second condition is that he has ownership of the money, either complete ownership or partial ownership. And he is a free Muslim, meaning that zakat is not collected from the non-Muslims or the dhimmis, those Jews, Christians who live under Muslim rule. Zakat is not mandatory for them, they pay jizya. And if the money or merchandise or livestock, they pass one hawl, means 1 year, then zakat is due. And then we mentioned there are two opinions. Is zakat on the money or zakat on the person? According to the Hanafi scholar, zakat is on the person. According to Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali opinion, the zakat is actually on the money, not on the person. What that means is that the majority of the scholars are saying that even if the money is owned by a child or an insane person, zakat will be due upon him if the money is more than nisab. But Hanafi scholars saying that zakat is on the money, meaning that if the money is owned by a child, then the child does not have to give zakat. And we mentioned why the ikhtilaf, why the difference in opinion. And we mentioned that the hadith is supporting strongly the majority. So that is why we take this position. I myself also take this position that zakat is on the money and not on the person. So whosoever owns the money, even if the person is child, he has to give zakat. Then we will move on to the topic for today. And today we'll talk about zakatable wealth and nisab on each zakat. Zakatable wealth, meaning that not all wealth that we possess, we have to give zakat on that, not all the wealth. There are only 5 categories of wealth that we have to give zakat on. Number 1, gold, silver, and currency. And this is pretty evident from the hadith. And when you talk about currency, since there was no currency that time other than gold and silver, they used to have basically dinar and dirham, the gold coin and silver coin. But the cash, as we use paper cash or even if they are non-paper cash, plastic money, there was no money like that. But still, since money is actually takes the same ruling as gold and silver, so currency also takes the ruling on either gold or silver, and we'll talk about which one we should take. Number 2 is merchandise for sale. Anything that I put up for sale or intend to sell, or whatever my business sales of the inventory, there is zakat on those. But there is no zakat on factory or machinery or tools or whatever I use to produce my end product for sale. There is no zakat on those. So the zakat is only on the items being sold. The number 3 is crops or whatever is extracted from the land. So from the crops, there are various crops, but the 4 are there is consensus, and I listed it here: wheat, barley, dates, raisin. These 4 are consensus because this is coming directly from the hadith. And then there are more according to the various madahib. So they are the crops and mined metals, whatever is coming from the land. That includes gold, silver, iron, copper, and even more that we will inshallah talk about when we go to that section. Treasure troves. Number 4 is treasure troves, or whatever treasure buried underneath the ground and suddenly we find it. This is called a rikaz. For example, I was digging something and then suddenly I found some wealth. If it is a expensive treasure, then there is zakat on those. And number 5 is free grazing livestock: camels, cows, buffaloes, sheep, and goats. So these are the 5 categories. Once again, number 1, gold, silver, currency. Number 2, merchandise for sale. Number 3, crops or whatever is extracted from the land. Number 4, rikas or treasure troves buried underneath. And number 5, free grazing livestock. Now, each of these categories have different Nisaab. Now, what is Nisaab? Let me do this full presentation. What is Nisaab? Nisaab is actually called Zakatable minimum or Zakat threshold, meaning each and every category of the wealth must have a minimum amount that if I possess that minimum amount, I am liable to give Zakat. And of course, I can give Zakat even if it is less than Nisab, but I am not liable. So that's called Nisab, minimum wealth required to be liable to give Zakat. That is called Nisab. So we call it Nisab throughout the session or Zakat threshold. Like for example, gold, 85 grams of gold is the Nisab. Nisab is not the same for all 5 categories. Like we mentioned, there are 5 categories of wealth. Gold, silver will have separate Nisab. Merchandise for sale, crops, treasure, they all have separate Nisab. Like rikas or the treasure troves, there is no Nisab on that actually. If I find some treasure troves underneath, under the ground, all of a sudden, I have to give zakat on the whole amount. It doesn't matter how much it is. So there is no Nisab on that. Now, number 4, the point is that sometimes many people ask, do I have to give zakat on the whole amount or do I subtract the nisab? So no, you have to actually give zakat on the whole amount. So here I have mentioned if I have a cash of amount C and the nisab is N, then I have to give C to 2.5% of the whole cash, not C minus N times 2.5. This is not a tax deduction, like, there is 20,000 tax deduction, tax dollar. It's not that. We have to give zakat on the whole amount. Nisab is only for qualification. Do I qualify? I am liable. That's why the nisab is used for. Moving on, nisab of all 5 types of wealth: gold and silver and currency. So we have nisab for gold is 85 grams of gold. Whosoever possesses 85 grams of gold or more is liable to give zakat. In Indian context, there is 2 measurements used, bhori and tola. 85 grams of gold would be approximately 7 tola, if I was checking a few days ago. So if somebody has that much of gold, 85 grams of gold, then he has to pay zakat. We'll talk about gold jewelry next, inshallah ta'ala. As for silver, 595 grams of silver. Whosoever has that much of silver has to pay zakat. Currency or cash, money, this takes the nisab of gold. So basically, we have to calculate the value of gold, 85 grams of gold's value. And if I have that much of money, then I have to pay zakat on my money. So this is the nisab for gold, silver, and currency. The second one is trade goods or anything that is put up for sale, merchandise. This takes the same ruling as the gold, silver, and currency, or rather currency, because we will not be using gold, silver anymore. We're going to be using currency. So trade goods, nisab is same as currency. Produce. Actually, I should write here crops more than produce, but nonetheless, produce or whatever comes out of the land, crops, produce, they have a nisab, and that nisab is measured by volume. 5 ausuk. 5 ausuk is actually approximately, there are a lot of measurements, sa, mud, then sa, then wasak, and then ausuk, 5 ausuk. It approximately 1200 handsful, 1200 handsful. So if I take the grain and measure with my hand, 1, 2, 3, it is approximately actually 1200 handsful. So if my crop or my grain is more than that, then I have to pay zakat on that. So Imam Ibn Qudam actually has mentioned this, although 5 ausuk is a measure of volume, but he mentioned that if we do pretty much for most of the crops, dry crops, after taking the husk out, it will be approximately 650 kilograms. So whosoever has got 650 kilograms of wheat, for example, that's a lot of wheat though, 650 kilograms of wheat. Whosoever has got that much, he has to pay zakat on that. Next is cattle or free grazing livestock. And this has various Nisaab. We don't have the camels or cows, but still we'll go through this. So 5 camels is zakat, is the Nisaab. 30 cows or buffaloes is the Nisaab for cows. For sheep or goats, 40 sheep or 40 goats will be the Nisaab. And then the rikas or treasure troves, this has no Nisaab. So one of the things I want to mention that inshallah ta'ala, we should, whoever is attending the class, get enough understanding and knowledge. Even if an area does not pertain to me, if you get that knowledge, you can help others. Like I may not have trade goods, but some my friend may be doing business. Might be able to help him. Or I may not have crops, or I may not have any agricultural land. Maybe another country, I may have a relative in India, Pakistan, or somewhere they do crops, agricultural lands. So we can help them if they want to know about this. So I think that is why let's get the knowledge as much as possible, and inshallah ta'ala will help others and become a source of knowledge for this matter. So these are the Nisaab for all 5 types. As we can see, the Nisaab is not same for all 5 types. We mostly deal with gold and currency in our current milieu in this area, as we do not deal with many of the other stuff. Okay, next, moving on. Okay, actually, I wanted to go through some of the questions that are submitted via the form. Let's go through them. Let me see if there are those box these questions. Maybe it will be beneficial, inshallah. Anyways, so the first question was, as you can read, can someone pay zakat in advance? What happens if the intention is to pay zakat arises after giving the donation? Hence, the original donation was made without zakat's intention or was made as a charity, but later it was decided to consider it as zakat. I'm seeing my internet connection is poor. Those who are joining remotely, can you see if it is connected correctly? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to have any issues? Can anybody share? Voice is breaking.
Yeah, and your voice is late.
Voice is late? Oh, there is a latency.
Yeah, voice is breaking
sometimes.
sometimes.
Just breaking a little bit, but we can understand though.
Okay. Actually, yeah, because of the cyclone, the Wi-Fi is down. I am actually connected through my hotspot. So yeah, if the problem is big enough, then I'll try to connect to Ahmad's hotspot. But I think
to speak in audio, you can use your phone.
In the phone.
Your laptop, you can keep the.
I see. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah, I have to join. Actually, I can actually use this phone also.
Mute everything in your laptop, otherwise you'll get the feedback.
No, actually, I will mute this one.
Yeah,
Yes, sure. Let me try. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, we can hear you without breaking up.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's better, inshallah. Yeah.
Jazakallah.
If there is any sound problem, please let me know. There may be some connectivity issue, but inshallah, we'll keep going. So the first question was the zakat. Actually, zakat has to be given with the correct intention. The intention has to be made before. Otherwise, it will go as regular sadaqah. And this is all the scholars say that we have to have the intention beforehand, not afterwards. It is like praying dhuhr with the intention of dhuhr. If we pray during dhuhr time with the intention of, let's say I missed some salah and I'm praying with that intention, then it will never be, that prayer will never be connected to dhuhr's intention. So that's how zakat is also ruled like that, because zakat is, at the end of the day, it is an act of worship. Act of worship has to have intention. That is why we have to have the intention for zakat before giving the zakat. If we did not do an intention of zakat, then we lost the chance. So that's the first question. Second question, when calculating eligibility of zakat, should I use nisab of gold or silver? We're going to talk about this one more, inshallah, today itself. So I'm going to speak to this question. In short, it is better to use gold. That is what the most of the current Fiqh assemblies recommend, and we'll go over why. Question number three, what if I have no cash but 401k has money that is above Nisaab? We have not come to this lesson yet, but in short, the answer is that yes, we have to give zakat on 401k if the money is more than Nisaab, or actually the money that I can get out of 401k. Not all money I can get out of 401k. I may be able to get only 60% of it after deducting the tax and penalty. Whatever money virtually I can get, and if it is more than Nisaab, I have to give zakat. And if I do not have money, then I will write that down, and for every year, and whenever I take that money out, let's say after 10 years, I'm taking the 401k money out after I retire. So after 10 years, I have to pay all my zakat that I actually calculated for the last 10 years. So you have to give zakat. Okay, next. There are many other questions that I actually shared last week related to this today's topic. Let's say you have an extra house in another state or country. Do you need to pay zakat on it? So this again connected to the zakatable wealth. Is house a zakatable wealth? Let us go back and see the zakatable wealth. We have zakatable wealth, gold, silver, merchandise for sale, crops, treasure troves, free grazing livestock. So house or residence is not one of them, right? So if I have a separate house, I do not have to pay zakat on it, even if I do not live in that house. However, if I rent that house, then that rent is zakatable. But if I do not rent, then no problem. But again, another situation comes that if I put the house on sale, that becomes trade goods. Now let's go back. The trade goods is one of the zakatable wealth. You see number two. Merchandise for sale. It becomes merchandise. If I put my house on sale, it becomes merchandise. So there is zakat on this. But zakat not due immediately. It has to pass one lunar year, then zakat is due. Meaning that if I put my house on sale, if the house is sold already within 1 year's time, and with that money I buy another house the same price, for example, then there is no zakat. However, if I put the house on sale and the house is still not selling for whole 1 year, then the value of the house is zakatable. But if I take out the house again from the market, it's not selling after 9 months, I took it out, then there is no zakat. The moment I put on sale, it is zakatable. The moment I take it out of the market, it is not zakatable. So that is the, whether or not this becomes trade goods or not. Question number two, you intended to sell your car. Do you need to pay zakat on it? Okay, we already answered this question. Right, Ahmed? If we intend to sell the car, then it becomes a trade goods. Same as house. I put the house on sale. Now I put my car on sale. It actually becomes trade goods. So if the house is, questions.
Yeah. So you mentioned about 401k.
Right. Yeah.
So 401k is like your equity.
Yes.
It's something that you're building.
Yeah.
So second house is also something that you're building. It's an equity.
Mm-hmm.
Only the time when you sell your house, you put it on sale, what you said, you pay zakat. Right. So it's not like you're building equity every year that you are accumulating zakat on your property, on your house.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you mentioned that 401k every year you are calculating
the zakat
on it, and then after like 30 years or whatever, whenever you are taking money out of your 401k,
and
then on the amount that you take out, minus taxes and all that, that's where you pay the zakat.
Yeah.
So, but you mentioned it's an accumulative action in 401k, but it's not in the property. I'm kind of.
Oh, right. Okay. So to repeat the question for the remote persons who joined. So this brother is mentioning that for 401k we have zakat. 401k every year we accumulate, calculate, and keep an account, and whenever we take the money out of 401k, we pay the whole zakat after 10 years, 20 years, whatever. But not for the house. Both are investments. House is also investment. 401k is also investments, right? That's how I understand the question. Why not for this thing? Okay. Now, any investment, stock, most of the time 401k is basically stock. Stock is as good as cash. That stock takes the ruling of cash. Anytime we say stocks, we always talk about how much I have wealth. Everybody's stock is on wealth. That is, a stock takes the ruling of cash, but not the house. Stock is like cash. You can easily sell, buy. It's not like a house that you have to put up on sale and is not selling. So that is why the stock is considered currency in this matter of zakat calculation, but not the house. So that is why the ruling is different. To answer the question. Okay. Should we go over these 5 questions that you can ask?
Similar.
Okay. We'll go over stock more actually later. Yeah, okay, then ask, no problem.
Quite simple. Like I know with 401k you don't get dividends as much as you do with stocks.
Yeah.
So like how's the rent you would pay zakat on the stocks? Would you pay on the whole stocks amount or the dividends that you receive from that stock?
Both.
Okay.
Because you have generated money from the stock. Okay. So yeah, the brother's question was, if the stock generates dividend, do we pay zakat on the dividend only or the stock also, both stock and dividend? So the answer is stock plus the dividends, both are money coming out. Okay, so question number 3, you have gold jewelry that you wear occasionally. Some say you have to give zakat on them, and some say no. Why? There is a difference in opinion, and what should you do? We'll have a detailed session on this, but time is 40 on. I think we may be able to go to this section, but let me answer this question. There is 2 opinions on whether or not gold jewelry that women use for their personal use, whether or not they are zakatable. The quick answer is that Hanafis say that this is zakatable. Hanafi madhab says the Abu Hanifa ruled that this is zakatable. And other 3 madhahib, Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali madhab, they said no, it is for personal use, so it is not zakatable. However, based on the hadith that we will find later on, we'll go through the hadith later on, we find that Hanafi madhab is actually stronger in this case. Hanafi madhab is stronger. That is why it is safer, and also safer to take Hanafi madhab in this case. Even though there is a difference in opinion, it is better that I give zakat on my jewelry. It is better that we give zakat on my jewelry because of 2 hadith I'll mention later. So that's the quick answer. Number 4 question, you got 100 grams of gold, which is above gold jewelry, which is above Nisaab, but no cash at all. How do you pay zakat on the jewelry without breaking them on selling them? So this is a valid question in the sense that I may not have any money. It will be same thing as a 401k I mentioned. Here also, if I do not want to break them or sell this jewelry, I still have to keep on calculating. At some point, I have to sell them. Or if husband or brother, somebody is paying on her behalf, it is totally fine. If somebody is willing to pay, okay, husband is saying, okay, honey, I just want to pay the zakat on your behalf, no worries, then fine. Then the husband keeps on paying the zakat, not a problem. But if nobody is willing to pay zakat on her behalf because she doesn't have any cash, then at some point she has to sell some of the jewelry or break them, whatever she wants to do. But zakat is liable. And this is only for the Hanafi madhab, because Hanafi madhab says that there is zakat on the gold, and that is also the safer position. Last question. You have 70 grams of gold, which is below Nisaab. We mentioned that 85 grams of gold is the Nisaab. You have 70 grams of gold. This is below Nisaab. And then $5,000 cash. This is actually below Nisaab too. That is because 85 grams of gold cost today about 7,500. 80,000? 80,000?
8,700. So 8,700 pounds.
About 8,700. Okay, 8,700. So 87. No. I'm talking about 85 grams of gold. So 85 times 87. 85 times 87.
I just Googled it, that's fine.
No.
Gold's also like that.
No, 87 is gold price is $87 per gram.
Yes.
So 85 gram times 87, which is about 7,000.
Yeah, that's actually correct.
About 7,500.
1 ounce.
395.
Yeah,
So 1 ounce is about $2,700, 27 something.
right, so 75, 8,000.
So yeah, let's say 7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You are talking about 100 grams of gold is 8700. 100 grams.
Sure.
But I'm talking about 85 grams. But yeah. So yeah, let's say $8,000. So now I have 5,000 cash, which is also below Nisaab. So do I have to pay zakat? Now here, cash and gold fall into the same category. So I have to add this together. And if I add these two, then I'm above the Nisaab. So 70 grams of gold would be 70 times 85, 80, 87. Maybe, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 maybe, approximately, let's say. So $6,000 gold I have and 5,000 cash. So together is 11,000, which is more than Nisaab. So we have to pay zakat on those. Any questions so far?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Let me
If you're
see.
buying and selling assets, for example, a house or a car, and you're doing it within
One second. Let me check the Let me check the voice breaking, below voice breaking. Just a quick answer. Zakat calculation empower. RSU stocks. Do you have zakat on RSU stock? Okay, tell me a question.
So if
Sorry.
you're buying and selling assets within a year,
Hmm.
if it's a car, house, whatever,
Yeah.
you do that as, I don't know, a business or a side business.
Hmm.
Are you paying zakat on the profit, or are you paying it on the entire revenue? For example, if I buy a car for 10,000, sell it for 15,000, do I pay the zakat from the 5,000 I made or the full 15,000 amount?
You basically have to, after 1 year passes, you see how much you have in your business bank, if it's business, and how much is still not selling. Add all of them. So if you sold for 15,000, it will be $15,000.
So after the whole year, let's just say I made 60,000 profit from selling cars or selling homes or whatever, you do it on the 60,000, or do you do it on the entire revenue of whatever? it was
Entire
bought?
revenue, because your expenses will be deducted, right?
Okay.
So you've already deducted expenses from your profit.
Right.
So the inventory of cars plus the profit together
Correct.
is where you would pay.
Yes. So at the end of the year, after another lunar year, you see your business, how much business has so far after deducting the expenses. You can also deduct if the expenses are due, or is that called? Like you may be doing accounts on not per cash, but per, what is that called term? I'm forgetting. Meaning that payable on payables.
Right.
That you have to pay after a month.
Liabilities.
Yeah. So then you can actually deduct that also.
Okay, gotcha.
And then add all the inventories. And there is the scholars differ whether or not what value we should put on the inventory. Is it purchase price or sold price or wholesale price? So there is a difference in opinion on that. And
good question. My business has signed a 1-year lease.
Mhm.
I'm committed to paying 1 year of rent.
Okay.
So then would I
Assalamu alaikum. I cannot hear any audio. Is anyone able to hear the audio?
No
Oh,
audio.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
hear anything either.
How about now? Was
Yeah,
it
I can
Yes,
hear now.
we could
was
hear
it
you
off?
now.
Was it off for quite some time?
For a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My this thing got disconnected. So let me now share again. I think you're not able to see also. This we are having some Wi-Fi issues. Okay, sure. Were you able to hear all these answer to these questions?
I can see screen now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we were at the last question and
Last question
we
also.
could hear the answer.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so let's move on. Next slide. Zakatable wealth. Okay, I will move this question later on. Okay. Passing of lunar year. This is another condition that some other wealth types is connected to. One lunar year has to pass, then only zakat is due. But we can still pay zakat before it passes. meaning that I'm not liable to pay. Until the 1 year time passes, I'm not liable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yes, I can always pay in advance. So that is the ruling here because of the hadith, the strong hadith. Am I having connection issue again? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Anjum, can you hear me?
Even the 5G is very weak.
Yeah, my internet is having some issue here. Okay, now lunar year. I don't see anybody can hear.
Switch it on.
No audio.
No, put the volume. Oh, yeah.
Let me type here.
Yeah, I cannot hear you from here.
Let me just waiting to see if there is a. I don't.
Maybe what also happens is there's a limit to how much you can hotspot from your phone. Like I have 1 or 2 GB limit for hotspot. Maybe you're.
I might be able to
slow the speed down.
Yeah. I was asking this question. Anybody? Can you hear me? Anybody joining via Zoom?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. That sounds good. Sorry about that. Well, there is a question. Zakat calculation on employer RSU stock. Do you pay zakat on RSU stock which were vested within last loan? I'm not sure what is RSU stock.
It's reserved stock which employer gives like every like some regular interval, maybe every 6 months or something. It gives the employer to the employee.
Okay, every 6 months they give.
It's a normal stock.
Yeah, that's known as ESOP, Employee Stock Option Plan. So what happens is, let's say when Microsoft hires you, once you complete 2 or 3 years, they'll give you a 4-year plan where they'll keep giving you a bit of stock for their company.
Okay.
Right? ESOP plans usually are 3-4 years.
Let me write this question. I have to do a little bit more research on this question, as I have to read about
So
it.
it's like you work for Amazon, but in 3 or 4 years you have stocks that they guaranteed you. Now you own it, but then it unlocks. It's on a vesting schedule.
Okay.
ESOP plans are on a vesting schedule.
I think I have to read about the ownership. When does the ownership gets activated? Am I fully?
So it's a vesting plan. So in 6 months you get some. 6 months later.
Yeah.
You get
So
some.
the areas that I have to see, what percentage of that stock I own at the time of doing the zakat, or let's say in the month of Ramadan, whatever percentage I own, that is for sure zakatable. So I think then it will be answerable. So not all I have ownership, right?
Yeah, so that would also apply to the rent of the house.
Right.
Because rent, some you've collected, some you haven't collected.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, so talking about the lunar year. The lunar year has to pass and then only zakat will be due. And this is applicable to gold, silver, currency, trade goods, and cattle, livestock. It is not applicable to crops and rikas or treasure troves. For crops, let's deal with the crops first. For crops, whenever the crops is ready, meaning that it is ripe and it is, I see that everything is good. Yeah, there is no way it's going to go bad unless I have neglected something upon my negligence or something. And then crop zakat is due at that time. And zakat has to be paid when I collect the crops. And crops do not have to pass a lunar year. And we'll talk more about crops later, but in quick short, that it has either 10% or 5% zakat only for 1 year, one-time zakat. There is no zakat after that. Even if the crop exists after 2 years, the crop does not, the remaining crop, we don't have to pay zakat anymore, unlike gold, silver, trade goods. Okay, now lunar year for gold, silver, and the understanding of the scholars, according to the hadith, is that if we have some money, then Allah is actually allowing us this, allowing this money to grow by our efforts. We can invest the money or gold or silver or trade goods or even the livestock also. For 1 year we grow and then we pay zakat. Say, let's say I grow 10% from my currency. then I just pay 2.5% of the zakat. So that is why one lunar year has to pass before zakat is due. So what about solar year? If there are companies who do not do their bookkeeping by the lunar calendar, but the solar calendar, then we have to actually do proportionate calculation. Instead of 2.5%, is going to be 2.5 times 365 divided by 354, which comes about 2.577. So I can still do lunar calendar calculation after solar calendar, but the percentage of zakat becomes 2.577. If we do that math, 2.5 times 365 divided by 354, because 354 is the lunar days, lunar year days, and 365 is solar year days. Okay, so on that lunar pass, next slide.
Just one question on the lunar years.
Yeah.
I have a habit of doing my zakat on the first week of Ramadan every year. Because my father has been doing the same thing for years.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be first Muharram as a preference or recommendation, as long as it's the cycle of the lunar year.
Yeah. So the brother is asking question that he does Ramadan first.
First week of
Ramadan, he does the gives the zakat. It does not have to be Ramadan. It can be Muharram also, right? That's your question.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, there is no need for it to be month of Ramadan or month of Safar or month of Muharram or month of Rajab or anything. Any month I select, any month, that this is my zakat month, not only a month, the day, 15th of Ramadan or 1st of Ramadan. Every year I'll do that on the 1st of Ramadan. I can change also later on. If I say, let's say I change from Ramadan 1 to Ramadan 15, then the 15 days I have to actually calculate how much more I have to do, because now I'm changing. So one time I have to do that calculation. Or if I do few months in advance or later, in advance is not a problem. But if I do 3 months later, so that means if 3 months is 1/4, right? So my zakat will be actually more, because 3 months of zakat I have to pay, I did not pay. So otherwise, just take one day of the year, lunar year, and pay zakat on that year. Most of the people do Ramadan, month of Ramadan, because of the blessings that we have in the month of Ramadan, that whatever zakat we give is multiplied more and more on the month of Ramadan. But that also brings us this question, should everybody do Ramadan? It is not a good idea that the Ummah does, everybody does on the month of Ramadan. Then what will happen is those needy, they have to wait until the month of Ramadan because he needs the money now. It's the month of Shaban, for example, a month before, and he does not have money. What do we do? If I have zakat, I should actually give him the zakat money in the month of Shaban, a month before Ramadan, than Ramadan. And in that, we may get more blessings, because the scholars actually debated what is a good deed, which good deed has the most blessings. And there are various opinions, but a strong opinion comes up that a deed that is appropriate for that time has the highest reward. So if my zakat I am planning to give in the month of Ramadan, but in the month of Shaban somebody is broke and he needs money, so I can give in the month of Shaban because that is where it's needed most at that time. So I may get more reward. So we should be relaxed on that also. If somebody needs more money, then I have to give. I can give zakat in advance. Okay, we have only 1 minute left. 9 o'clock. Should we go move forward, or should we go talk about this tomorrow? What is your
questions?
9 o'clock? Okay, I think then we will tackle this one, and Nisaab for gold and silver in details. We're going to go over this, and the next slide is currency. So this is the details to talk about how the 85 grams come and the 595 gram comes. Then we have some hadith we'll talk about. Then gold, 424 karat gold versus 18 karat gold. Then we'll talk about, inshallah, currency, what we will take, gold or silver, and why we want to take the silver, gold rather than silver. Then zakat on jewelry, we'll talk about details, why Hanafis and Malikis and Shafis, they differed. And some examples also, we have calculation of the zakat. So yeah, so inshallah, we'll go over these things tomorrow. We'll stop here, Nisaab for gold and silver.
So one question.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Regarding
You can come so everybody can listen to your question. Sorry, I'm sorry. Make you move.
Let me squeeze a question before he gets it.
So, you talked about the stocks and the 401k.
Yeah.
So,
Are you able to have the question?
yeah, so, I mean, we never had stocks
I have a good.
back in the times, right?
Sorry.
Back in Prophet's time.
There is no stock, right?
Yeah, there's no stocks, there's
Right.
no RSUs, there's no 401ks, right? So
Right, yeah.
based on what information are we, how it was concluded to what?
Oh, this thing, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there is no direct hadith or anything. This is the currency, like for example, money or the cash currency that did not exist during the Prophet's time. And so the methodology used is called qiyas. Qiyas means analogy. Qiyas means analogy. The hadith based look at the currency of the gold and silver, all the hadith they look at. And through qiyas, to analogy, they figure out cash has to take the ruling of gold and silver. Although there is a very minor opinion that cash should not take. And that opinion, actually, I have, in my class, when I was doing class, we asked a lot of questions and did a lot of understanding research. Yeah, it has to take, money has to take the ruling of either gold or silver. There is no way. Although minority opinion exists, I must say. As for stock, so stock can take the ruling of trade goods or can take the ruling of cash. Again, the cash is through qiyas because stock is money. Stock is money. That's what's taking the ruling of invested money, invested cash. As for trade goods, when that stock is day trading, if you're doing day trading or frequently buying and selling, frequently, you have anytime you have the intention to sell the stock, it does not need to be day trading. It can be like, I want to sell it. Whenever I get a good price, my intention is to sell. That becomes a trade goods. So the ruling of trade goods directly comes here. There is no difference of opinion in this case because the hadith is clear. The Rasulullah said that pay zakat on the items that you sell. There is a hadith on that. So that means if stock is an item that I want to sell, so it becomes trade good. There is no doubt. As for the stock that I have invested and I am not at all buying or selling, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's why it takes the ruling of invested cash. Yeah.
So I calculate my zakat in Ramadan.
Okay.
Give or take, it's always around the same day.
Okay. Yeah.
But I like to disperse it over the year. Because like you said, the opportunity, you never know when it comes. If you disperse all of it in Ramadan.
So 1 second, I'm just quickly checking. Everybody is able to hear? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear.
So I calculate.
Can you come here and say the question there so that I don't have to repeat the question? Sorry, I'm bringing my brother here so that come too close to the mic.
So,
yeah, read the question.
So I calculate zakat.
Yeah.
At the, let's say, the 1st of Ramadan.
Okay.
But I disperse zakat over the entire year almost because dispersing it all together, what happens is too many opportunities come up during the year.
Right.
Is there a ruling on this? Is this like delaying it? Is there anything wrong as like,
okay,
you know,
got it,
from that point, yes.
Okay, everybody got the question? Okay, so zakat due versus zakat paying in advance. If the zakat is due, money is not mine anymore. So I should disperse as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm liable. Meaning that those who are zakat eligible to receive zakat, it is their money. If I delay, if I do not release, I am liable. I am sinful. But for the next year's zakat, I can pay in installments. And approximate, I can calculate, okay, every year I pay about 5,000 zakat. Likely next year also I'll be paying similar amount. And that money that you pay in advance, you are not liable to pay yet. Okay. So if you want to disperse in a small chunks, pay from the advance zakat. Next year zakat, not the zakat that is due already.
Okay. One more question. You had number 2, we didn't complete that, where you said now the car from personal use is now intended for sale.
Okay, yeah.
So the car is now changed from personal use to sale, which makes it a tradable commodity and it becomes zakat eligible.
Correct, yeah.
But would you assume your sale price on the date of zakat calculation? Or would you wait until you have finalized the sale so you have the amount on the zakat to pay?
So the intention is there, but it took 6 months to sell the car.
Okay, by the way, if you have any item that intended to sell, zakat is only due after 1 year. Zakat is not due for the whole year. It is not due until 1 year, 1 lunar year.
So then I will end up selling the car, having cash in my account,
and then you pay.
Then once I hit the year, then
Yeah.
So it's for the sitting cash.
Yeah, instead of
So for a day trader, if he's doing the trades after a year of income, that's obviously just profit. Then it's going to be zakat on it.
Yes, yeah.
You put your net worth together with the Nisaab above, and then it all adds up at that one point every year.
So to clarify again, for car selling or anything that you are selling, anything that I let's say I have a nice watch, for example, whatever, Citizen watch or whatever, very nice watch, I use it, there is no zakat. Then someday I decided that I'm going to sell this. The day I intended, let's say today is, I intended today is, say, let's say Shaban 1. Then zakat is due next Shaban if the watch is not sold yet and I had the whole intention whole year. But if the watch is already sold, then I pay the zakat on the cash, whatever I got from the sale. The situation comes only if the item is not sold and I had the intention for the whole year. But in between, after 6 months, I intended not to sell again. And then it becomes not tradable goods. It's not zakatable again. Now, after 1 month of that 6 months, means 7th month, I decide I'm going to sell it again. So your Nisaab lunar year starts from that day when I intended. So now you have two zakatable date called zakat due date, ZDD, zakat due date. So you generally pay zakat on 1st of Ramadan, but for the Citizen watch, since you intended to sell in the month of, let's say, Muharram, 1st Muharram, your zakat due date for the Citizen watch only is Muharram 1. But if you want to pay, to make it simple, to simplify the case, you can pay in advance on the month of Ramadan itself. Makes sense?
One twisting question.
Sorry.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, inshallah.
You were mentioning about one point, and then I think you moved to this other point, that regarding the stocks which got vested but neither sold nor bought. What is the ruling on that?
So whatever has been vested, I assume that vested means that I have ownership of that, right?
Yes.
So that stock is zakatable. That the zakat that is vested. And
after 1 lunar year?
After 1 lunar year, yes.
Okay. And if I get, let's say, such stocks at regular intervals, like vested every 8 months, 6 months, then do we count those separately or collectively like cash?
So Safi and Hanbali madhab say that you have to have different zakat due date for every amount that is vested. However, Hanafi say that instead of doing all sorts of calculations, let's just pay in just one zakat due date for everything, and which means that some of the zakat can be paid in advance, some on the due date. So basically, we don't have to keep an account of how much is vested every month or every 2 months and keep an account on all of these. And we'll have a separate zakat due date for every little investments. Instead of doing that, it is better to go the Hanafi way. Hanafi say that we just take a look at on the zakat due date, let's say Ramadan 1, and see how much I have already vested. And take that value and just do the calculate the zakat on that.
For simplification, understood.
Yeah, just simplification, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And I see one slide in front of me that there are different.
Yeah, we have not gone through this slide yet. Okay, I think, yeah. Tomorrow we'll go through this, yeah, inshallah.
Yeah, you mentioned that there are different components on which the zakat is eligible for 1 lunar year, like gold, silver, commodities, etc., right? Currencies, etc.
Yes, yeah.
What if someone has the one, let's say, item, either it is gold or whatever, and then within a lunar year, he sells and buys another form of commodity. It could be stock, it could be currency, it could be silver, and anything else. And then within next lunar year, he buys again. Does he need to pay zakat ever? if he does this in this way?
Yeah, if it is gold, buying, what is he buying? Is he buying something that is zakatable or not? So you have to see the wealth that he purchased, is it zakatable? Let's say if he buys chair, so chair is not zakatable.
In these items only, gold, silver, and currency only.
Yeah, in that case, zakatable, because there are three things are zakatable. So if you buy from gold and then sell the gold with money, it's money, either gold or silver or cash. Yeah, then it will be zakatable.
Even if the lunar is not passed.
Yeah, if this point, yeah, to my understanding, it should, because it is the same type, exact same type. So to my understanding, yes, it even if we don't calculate lunar year for based on that. Sorry, we do not start a new ZDD or new zakat dividend for this, because the wealth type is same. Yeah, and in your position, and you. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a loophole. People will keep on.
11 months buy a house.
Right, yeah. House is still fine.
But still, it just keeps switching commodities.
Right, yeah.
But it's your wealth.
Right, yeah. Because you see, a house is, if you buy, you are risking. House price may go down. But if you buy gold with silver or currency, these things are, by intrinsically, they're zakatable. So I would think that, yeah, we have to still pay zakat.
One question quickly on zakatable items. The percentage of that item can be used as to be paid in zakat as well. So like with gold, I know I can take, let's say I have 100 grams, I can take 2.5 grams and I can give that as a. But let's say livestock, I have 40 cows. Can I sacrifice one cow and give that as meat?
No, yeah.
Wherever it's eligible to give?
No, yeah. So if you do not have the item, you can actually give cash, equivalent cash. So for example, for 40 cows, the zakat is 1 year calf, 1 year old cow or calf. So if you do not have, then you can pay the cash. The same goes for, in fact, for trade goods, you have to, by default, it is cash, not the item that you're selling.
Understood.
But all the others like crops, profit equity is to give the crop itself, because it is useful to the zakat recipient. Like wheat, we rather give 10% wheat than the money. That is the profit equity. And there is a difference of opinion on this also. And yeah, the opinion can be both ways. Some scholars say that, cash may be misused, or the zakat recipient may use the cash on gambling or something. But if you give food, he has to eat.
That's the question about the cow. Like instead of giving one cow cash,
yeah,
take one slaughter sacrifice and just give that as zakat, right? So that people will eat it.
Yeah, it's not the sacrifice actually. It has to be the actual calf, live.
Give the live cow as
Yes,
zakat.
it's not the meat. Yeah, live cow.
You just give one cow.
Yeah, like for 5 camels, 1 sheep.
Right.
You have to give a live sheep, so the recipient can grow from that. Take the sheep, and this, has 1 sheep, 2 sheep, or can more growth on that. Okay, I think if we don't have, inshallah, we'll end here. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan, those who joined online and here also. Thank you. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.